Connecting custom attributes. Okay, that's the section that we're in now. So basically locking and hiding was a little before this one, and now we get to the fun part. We made these attributes, and these are custom attributes, and we need to connect them because we want to have these custom attributes drive the rotation of our joints. Okay, so this part is going to be for that setup, and what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the top here, and what we want to do is we want to have this selected, and at any time don't feel like if you forgot to select your left foot manipulator that you cannot go back and reload this. Okay, so what we can do here is I have this selected. When we have this selected, anything that we have selected basically is going to show up in our left column when we go up to Window and we go down to General Editors, and we're going to go over to what's called the Connection Editor. Now this is pretty good for animations, this is pretty good for rigs, and there are various other things that we could use this for to customize our scene and to customize our functionality. So we have Window, General Editors, Connection Editor. That's going to bring this bad boy up, and for the most part whatever you have selected will be in this left column. You're going to see that this left column in the Connection Editor is going to be our outputs. So we have outputs and we also have inputs, and basically you want to think of it as this. So I like this little icon that they have here, from and to. The from is going to be what attribute basically is going to be controlling or making the connection between the attribute and the asset. Okay, so this column is going to be basically like the controller that's going to drive whatever we connect it to in this column here. Now we can go to the very bottom, because this works a little bit like our outliner, to the fact that some of the attributes that we created, at least a lot of times that I use this, are going to end up down here at the very bottom. So it's pretty friendly. Everything that was built into this NURBS curve is above, okay, and all this other stuff below is the attributes that we created. So our custom attributes nicely are at the bottom, very easy to get to, and we need this to control the various joints that we created. So for the first part of this, if we want to take it from the top here, we have the heel rotate X, or the heel rot X, okay, or whatever you guys may have called it. This guy needs to be connected as well. All right, this is the heel rot X on this side. We have it selected, and we don't need to worry about that. Okay, let me show you one other thing real quick. Let's say that I didn't have this controller selected. I'm going to go ahead and close this connection editor. I am going to click off of the controller, and I will go up to Window, down to Rendering Editors, back over, not Rendering Editors, General Editors, back over to the Connection Editor. And this is without anything selected. You will see that nothing is loaded in here. Okay, it's very simple to load this. We can select this controller, come up to Reload Left right here, click on Reload Left, and that will load the left foot manipulator. Now I always tell everybody in class to look down here at the bottom, because it also says what you have loaded here at the bottom. Okay, and this is going to be for your outputs, because once we scroll down, this left foot manipulator at the top is going to disappear. Okay, and it's very easy to have the wrong thing loaded. If you accidentally clicked on the heel here, you might be connecting it to something else that you put in here, or trying to connect it to itself. Okay, so you do want to make sure that you have the correct object in this left column. So left foot manip, that's good, that's our controller, and we want to start off with the heel rotate X. So I'm going to come over here. This is the guy that we're starting off with. This is just to show you. I don't need to come here and select it. The heel rotate X is what we're dealing with. So I'm just going down to our custom attributes so we can see them, and I want to see that I want to connect this to the heel itself. Okay, we have heel rotate X, heel rotate Y, heel rotate Z, and what I want these to follow or control or drive, if you will, is the joint. Okay, so I'm going to click on the heel, and this guy, you can use your channel box. My settings are a little bit different just because I'm recording this, so I have different settings for my display, but the left reverse heel is the guy that we're connecting this to. Okay, so make sure you guys check in your notes. It'll tell you exactly which ones you're connecting these attributes to, and for us to connect them, we need the inputs to be driven by something on this side. So with this left reverse heel selected, we want to come up here to the connection editor and reload the right column. Okay? Now you're going to see that it says left reverse heel down here at the bottom, and we are going to scroll down until we find the rotates. Okay? Now there are different things like rotate order and such, but don't let that throw you off, like rotate axis. These aren't the things that we need. We need the basic rotates. So you do want to look for like the basic translates if that's what you're doing. In our case, we're doing the basic rotates. And to find the X, Y, and Z, I will come here to the rotate. I'll come over to the left here and click this little plus sign, which will drop down all the different axes that I have the ability to rotate. Now, I can put this a little more close if it helps out, and I find that it does, to where these are kind of across from each other. All right? It's pretty nice because we have the heel rotate X, and that is directly going to go into the X on this side, okay? To connect them, I click on one that I want to connect to the heel rotate X. That's the attribute in our channel box for the controller, right? The heel rotate X, we labeled it to say, hey, it's going to control the rotate X. So I come here to the right hand side, and I want to control or drive the rotation of X on that joint. Okay? Now, I do like this because once you do this, I do like for you guys to come over here to the channel box once you select the controller and test this. So I select this controller, which is the left foot manipulator, and I scroll down here to the heel rotate X. I select it with my left mouse button just to highlight it. So click on the words here, or the lettering if you will. Come over here. Anywhere in your work area, hold down your middle mouse button. See those two arrows? Holding down your middle mouse button will allow you to drag to the right, and basically that allows you to change the value up here in our channel box, up or down. So if you drag to the left, it goes to the negative. If you drag to the right, it goes to a positive value. It's working because you can see that I have the controller selected, and every time I do this, it works. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that move till this thing is back to 0, or just type in 0. And don't go too far. Always look down at this box right here, because if you undo the connection, then that could be a problem. You could undo things that you've done. Okay, some things won't let you undo it simply like this, but you don't want to go too far because then you think you've done it and then it doesn't work when you turn it in, okay? So if I come up here and I select I don't actually need to select anything because everything's loaded in here. Let's say that I accidentally connected this to the wrong attribute, okay? The heel rotate X, I accidentally connected to something else. All I have to do is reload what I connected it to, and I'll come down here, and anything highlighted in blue, you'll also notice that it has italicized. So the slanted text indicates that it's connected, and this is connected. And it really doesn't color code it for us. I'd have to look into that and see if there's a way for us to color code these. But for the most part, when we select something, like if I select heel rotate Y, it's not connected to anything because nothing highlights in here. All right, and also it's not slanted text, so we don't have italicized text indicating that it is connected. But if I click on heel rotate X, you can see that maybe I accidentally clicked these other ones, and now every time heel rotate X is rotated, it is affecting every single one of our rotation axes. All we simply have to do is select the heel rotate X that we connected some other objects to, or it's driving the attributes of another object, and we just click on them with our left mouse button. You'll see that the original, once I'm done disconnecting with everything or from everything, then the heel rotate X is basically not connected. It goes back to regular text and nothing else is highlighted over here. Okay? But basically all you guys are doing is you're connecting exactly what these are for. So heel rotate X is going to be connected to the rotate X of that joint. Heel rotate Y to the rotate Y of that joint. Heel rotate Z to the rotate Z of that joint. Okay? And these are all for the different joints. So these are for the heel, and that's basically this one right here, okay, the left reverse heel. And once you see that we have connected all of these, anything that we have connected in the actual joint itself here in the channel box, the left reverse heel, the rotate X, Y, and Z have now been color coordinated in our channel box only to be connected. I mean, it should be in the attribute editor as well. Yes, see that? So our channel box and attribute editor now have yellow blocks in here indicating that we have these connected to something. Okay? So that's a very good way of checking these things. Once you create these, you always want to select your controller and go down to your custom attribute, which is going to be the hill rotate X, Y, and Z. And again, remember I labeled these a little bit different just to give you guys that example. I probably should have changed them, but that's all right. I think you guys are smart enough to figure it out. I'm going to click this, come over here, test it. That works. Undo that move. Come here to the rotate Y, test it. Holding down my middle mouse button again. And that works. And rotate Z. So I could do a toe tap. Or a foot tap, if you will. This guy could play the bass drum, right? Double bass. Again, you guys got to make the sound effects or it's not going to work. Okay. Now, for the other ones, the ball rotate Z, that is going with the ball of our foot. So, well, the reverse foot, I should say. So I'll select something like this bone right here that really selects the joint. So you'll see up here that I clicked on the bone. And again, guys, that's just a visual representation of our left reverse heel, okay? It's more for us to connect the dots, kind of like our skeletons, and I think it helps out pretty nicely, but it also helps out for selection purposes. So if you see this up here, it's hard to maybe see that little joint in there. I could just click on the joints bone, and you're going to see that it selects the joint, which is the left reverse heel, or the one at the end here. And that's our root joint, so I can do what's called pick walking. I'm going to use my arrow keys to do such, right? The down arrow key and the up arrow key. That's my left reverse toe. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to do the ball. So I'm going to tap the arrow key, the down arrow key once again, and that takes me to the left reverse ball. Okay? That's this ball rotate right here. It only has one connection. All right? So our left foot manipulator still remains in our left column, but our right column, we do not need to connect this to the left reverse heel, and trust me, we can. Be careful about that. Always look in this column to make sure you're connecting it to the correct joint, okay? So what I need to do is I need to reload the right again. So with this left reverse ball selected in my channel box, I can see it selected, or you can go to your outliner. That's totally fine. I'm going to go up here to my connection editor, and I'm going to come over and click on reload right. That reloads my right hand column. And you're going to see that the nice thing is it puts kind of where I was, like where the rotates are. See this? It puts it right there for me. It didn't start at the top again. And what I mean by that is it didn't start up here. Okay? So I can come back down here, just simply click on the plus sign. And that's another thing I like to mention is that because these are grayed out, it does not mean that we cannot connect it to it. It basically means that we need to drop it down and get to the inner parts here of whatever we want to connect it to, okay? So it is open to us because they are in a white text. They're not grayed out. So our ball rotate Z, I put the rotate Z on there for you. It's just going to say ball rotate, but the rotate Z is the way we set up our order. So for right here, how this is sticking out in the Z axis, that axis is how we set it up all the way up the leg and the spine. So for rotate Z, ball rotate Z, it's just going to simply go with rotate Z right here. Okay? Once you guys have this, you guys can do the toe rotates the same way. So you're going to want to select the toe joint and you're going to want to connect it. All right, so I'll leave that part to you guys. I think you guys get the idea. And for the most part, this is a easy procedure. You got to do it just a couple of times and you guys will definitely get the hang of it. And I do recommend you guys try it with different things. So maybe connect something like translate Y to a color. I teach that in my animation classes, that you can change colors of objects or have things moving around and it changes the color of an object, or when something goes up in the Y-axis, I connect it to another object going left and right in the X-axis. So when I drag something up, it makes something go to the right. When I drag it down, it makes something go to the left. So try things out. Just kind of play with it. That's definitely how you guys are going to get more powerful at Maya and any other program that you use. Okay? So I'll stop talking now, being a little chatty Cathy, and you guys let me know if you have any questions.